Hey, so just want to do a quick update or a quick vlog. This will just be like a couple minutes long. So it is day 2 of the BookTubeAthon, and so far I haven't read anything. Yesterday I actually filmed my TBR pile for BookTubeAthon because I've been super busy up until now, and also kind of trying to figure out which books I want to read for the BookTubeAthon. So that should be uploaded and on my channel. And yesterday I did some reading, but it was for a book for a different reason, like not related to the BookTubeAthon. So hopefully today I'll be able to get some reading done. Problem is that usually I have the mornings free, and today I'm actually going to be subbing at, I teach at a language school, and they needed I don't usually teach in the morning, but they needed a teacher for this morning, so I said I would do it because I have the hours open. So that means less time for reading. Then this evening, our library has a Harry Potter like celebration for people who are 18 plus, and so I'm going to that. So I don't know exactly how much time I'll have to do some reading, but fingers crossed that I will get some done today. So maybe I'll try to do an update at around like lunchtime or like late afternoon about if I've done any reading and how much I've done. Hello. So it is now about 3-4 o'clock, and so far this is the book that I'm reading, and I'm only about 15 pages in because I was only able to read during my commute into work, which is only about like 15-20 minutes. But now I'm done with work. I have about 30 minutes before I head home, so I thought I would go outside, and here's the park, and find some shade because I forgot my sunglasses, and do some more reading. So yeah, hopefully I can get a few more pages in before I head home. Hi everybody, I wanted to do a quick update on my progress for the BookTubeAthon. As of last night, I had read 50 pages in this book, The Boys in the Boat, which is about chapter 4. I really am enjoying this book so far. It's reminding me of when I was a rower in high school, but it's also a little bit of a slow read for me because it is nonfiction. So what I decided to do was pick up the Diviners and start this one because I wanted to really get through more reading, and I thought that by reading a fiction or fantasy book I'd be able to do that. I fell asleep last night. I had only gotten I think 14 pages in, and then this morning I woke up and read a little bit, and then read a little bit more, about 30 to 40 minutes before filming this, and so now I'm here, which is about 70 pages in. I've had a really busy week this week. I subbed for a class yesterday. I went to the Sailor Moon movie that was showing for Sailor Moon R and Sailor Moon S on the big screen in the theaters on Monday evening. Last night there was a Harry Potter birthday celebration at my local library that I went to. So tonight I'm going to a movie. So I actually have a lot of things planned this week, and I haven't had as much reading time as I thought I would. Thursday and Friday I'm hoping to get a little bit more reading in. Saturday hopefully I will as well. I know Sunday I have friends coming over and we're playing board games all day. So I know that that day is pretty much going to be gone for me unless I can get it done in the way early morning before any of my friends come in, or in the evening after they leave. But I'm pretty sure I'll be exhausted. I will still give you updates on how I'm doing towards the end of the week, but I'm pretty sure I will not get through that many challenges. I am hoping to get through at least 2 books, maybe 3, depending on how fast I can read. So I wanted to also just quickly talk about yesterday's Harry Potter celebration at my local library, because I think it's kind of a unique thing that happened. So the librarians and the library staff basically put together a night at Hogwarts at our local library. We have an older section of the library that kind of looks a little bit more Hogwartsy. It's just a little bit older. It's like architecture. And so we all went to this, and we could dress up. We were encouraged to dress up, but it wasn't required. It was an adults 18 plus event. They did have a children's event in a different area of the library, but this was just for adults. So we all got randomly sorted. We pulled a button out of the sorting hat to determine what house we were in, and this is the thing that fell on the floor. This is my house. I got randomly sorted into Hufflepuff. Now I identify as a claw because of the reading and because I really enjoy learning, and I just like the colors and the fact that it's an eagle. Whenever I take any of the Harry Potter quizzes, my first house, my main house, is always Ravenclaw. However, I do have quite a few Puff qualities, so I was happy with getting Hufflepuff as my house. My husband, who went with me, he actually got sorted into Slytherin, and it was really funny because he got sorted into Slytherin, and then the girl after him, who was completely dressed in like Slytherin colors, got sorted into Hufflepuff, and she's like, no, I don't want to be a Hufflepuff. So my husband and her discreetly traded pins, even though they technically were supposed to. So he joined me in the Hufflepuff house, which I believe when he's taken the quizzes, he's always turned out to be a Hufflepuff anyway. So it worked out. Funnily enough, when we got to choose wands, the wand that he chose was the one with the snake. So maybe he is a Slytherin a little bit at heart. I don't know. So we got to choose our own wands. This was my husband's. And they actually had little tags on them saying what they were, so that was his. And then, I know, I'm such a bad Harry Potter fan. Here's my wand. It's a really plain and simple one, but I believe someone else told me that this was the actual, like, Harry Potter wand, which I didn't even make that connection until someone else mentioned it. And I was like, oh yeah, Holly and Phoenix Feather. So the librarian staff had made these because at the end of each of these tips is a tiny magnet. So after we got sorted into our houses, divided into houses, we had classes. There were 4 classes, and the first one was Charms. So in Charms, we learned the very first lesson, the Wingardium Leviosa, Swish and Flick, levitation spell. And so there were little tiny magnets on the feathers, and we had to take the magnet from the tip of our wand, be able to and use it to pick up the feathers and move them from one pile into the next pile. I'm going to insert a clip of me doing that right here.
Go. Hufflepuff, 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 Hufflepuff. She got 3.
So I only had 5 seconds because I was at the very end of the line, and by the time we got to the end of the line, it was like lightning round. So each of the feathers were randomly assigned a certain points value, and in the lightning round, the points doubled, but we only had 5 seconds. Most people who did this like first, they had about 15 seconds, so they had significantly longer to figure it out. You really had to make sure, since the magnets are so small, you really had to make sure that you connected the tip of the magnet to the tip of the feather, which is why I'm in the video I'm holding it like this and not like an actual wand. So we did that. We went and we did a potions class where they actually had like sparkling water and lemonade, and we got to mix different amounts of these ingredients together to make a potion, and then actually got to drink it. And so the pamphlet they gave us was this, and in it just had kind of a schedule of events, but then it also had the recipes we had to follow for potions, and it also had general wand movements, which was really fun. It also has a section about BookTubers, which we learned about in our herbology class, and we actually got to take home a small cutting of the BookTubers that from the main plant that they had. I don't know what the Muggle name or the regular name of that plant is, but hopefully it'll actually get to grow. We were told that this was a great beginner's plant, so I'm hoping it actually is, but I'm not a very good green thumb. The last thing was History of Magic trivia, which was basically History of Magic class, which was basically Harry Potter trivia. And it was fun because it was more like niche trivia, like more detailed facts that you needed to have read the books for. Like one of the trivia questions was, what is Arthur Weasley's Now I can't even remember the trivia. What is Arthur Weasley's lifelong dream? Which is apparently to figure out how planes fly or stay in the air. And so that was kind of neat that it wasn't just like, who are Harry's two best friends at Hogwarts, which you would know if you had read the movies. And that's fine. I'm not saying that you can't be a Harry Potter fan if you haven't, watched the movies, or if you haven't, like, you can still love Harry Potter and not be like a super fan. I feel like that's what I am. I really love Harry Potter. I love the Harry Potter world, but I've only watched the movies once, and I've only read through the entire series once. I think I've read the first book a couple of times, and I've seen maybe the first movie a couple of times. I'm currently starting to go through the audiobooks with my husband, because this will be the first time that he's heard or read the book version. But I can't say that I know the small details very well. So in the trivia, I was helpful for stuff related to the first book, but not towards facts related to the other books or parts of the series. But it was a lot of fun. Everybody there was, I think, they loved Harry Potter, and the librarian staff was dressed up like professors. Hi, doing another update for BookTubeAthon. So it is day 4, so we're about halfway through BookTubeAthon, and so far I've finished one book. Here's an update on where I'm at. So books that I've started: The Boys in the Boat. I have not read any more of this since the second day of BookTubeAthon. I just, it's something I'm not super interested in reading at this point. If it's something that if I'm looking to try and read as much as possible, I know that that's going to be a lot slower for me. Yesterday I did take the Diviners with me on the train, even though it's huge, and I was able to read a little bit more. So now I'm at page 126, which is about, I think, 70 pages more than what I had read at the start of yesterday. So that's good. And I actually did have a woman on the train ask me what I was reading, and then if I liked it, and I was like, well, I just started, so I don't know. But so far I do like how it's going. I'm not a big fan of like the first of the characters that's in this book, Evie, but I think you're not supposed to like her as a character, and so I'm hoping that she kind of changes as we kind of learn more about her and her special abilities. But I think it's interesting how there's these other characters that are woven into the story, and it'll be interesting to see how they all connect to each other, because it sounds like they might at some point. So the book that I finished yesterday, I picked up from the library, Wrinkle in Time. It came available at the library, and this is the book that I am reading, or that I read, to satisfy the challenge of read a book with a movie adaptation. So I read this, and then I don't know if it was actually required for the challenge, but I did watch the movie A Wrinkle in Time as well. And so I watched that this morning right after I finished this. I actually liked the movie. Yeah, there's a lot of differences compared to the book, but I think that in a way simplified the storyline for people who've never read the book. Now, I might also like the movie better and kind of understand what the movie's trying to convey, because I just finished the book. So I do understand that for someone who's not familiar with the series at all, that watching the movie might be kind of confusing. I think that might be something to ask my husband about, because I know that I'm pretty sure he hasn't read this book. The reason why I like the movie better than the book is because I like Meg's character better. I think in the movie she is a frustrated, angry young woman, teenager, because her father has disappeared, and because she sees and hears this kind of, a lot of the gossip and unfairness, and because she's being singled out as different, and there's just a lot of things kind of converging, and I can totally get how she would be upset and angry and aggressive and stuff like that. But I feel like in the book, the Charles Wallace and even her father and Calvin, I feel like there is so much protecting her, like we have to protect her because she's so weak, and she falls into that own trap of thinking that she's weak and perpetuates the thinking that she's weak, that I don't And I really don't like that. Like, I don't like weak characters, and I don't like it when people think characters are super weak, and this constant, like, negative, like, there's a lot of negativity in this book. There's a lot of using words like you're a moron and you're stupid and you're not, you know, like, why am I not smart? There's a lot of self-doubt that's occurring in this book. And I understand that part of this book is her overcoming all of this, but it makes it really hard to read, I think. I like stronger characters, and she's, in the book, not portrayed as a strong character. I feel like in the movie, there is more evidence of her being a strong character. There's definitely still the self-doubt there and the anger, but I feel like in the movie, they're able to capture that and say, hey, become a warrior, and then she takes that on. Whereas I feel like in the book, she doesn't take that on until the very end, after she meets those weird tentacle creatures. Spoiler, if you haven't read the book, there's tentacle creatures. But they're nice, they're good creatures. And the creatures are not in the movie. What's another thing? Oh, so Calvin's character is more realistic in the movie, I feel like, than in the book, because in the book and the movie, they know who each other are from school, but they don't interact with each other. And so in the book, it's like they finally come to this point where they meet each other and interact with each other, and it's like Calvin has known them suddenly for a very long time, and he interacts with them in a super friendly way and protective way. And you know, it talks about how like after meeting Calvin, when they're walking back to the house, he's holding onto her arm in a protective way. Like, no, you barely know her. Why are you doing this? Why are you letting him do this? And I felt like in the movie, yeah, there were these moments in time where there was this fear, and so they were holding on to each other or to give each other reassurance. But I didn't feel that it was like an overprotecting, I have to take care of you because you're weak, which is what I got in the book. So that's why I didn't really care for the book as well. So like I said, like the movie better overall, although I do get how some people would say that the movie wasn't good. And if you're like a diehard fan of the book, especially all parts of the book, then I could see how by changing some of the storyline, taking out some of the characters, changing some of the characters, that it would make people go like not like the movie. So anyway, that's my thoughts on this. So here's what I plan to do next. I think I'm gonna start one of these two books. I kind of want to read Starry Eyes because, one, this has to go back to the library eventually, sooner rather than later, so I think I want to read this one. Also because I'm hoping, also because it is a YA contemporary, I'm hoping that it'll be a faster, quicker read. I'm just afraid that I'm going to get frustrated with the characters because I usually don't like contemporary YA, especially if there's a little bit of like romantic stuff in there. It's just frustrating. The other possibility is A Night Circus, but I'm hesitant about this one, and this is also why I'm hesitant about The Diviners, is that because they're so heavy. Like, this book is almost 500, it's just shy of 500 pages, and there's a little bit of heft to it, there's a little bit of weight to it, and so I don't know, I just kind of don't want to carry it around with me, but that's also just me being lazy. So I don't know, this book, for being significantly bigger, not significantly, but being a little bit bigger, is actually a lot lighter, so I might read this first and then this one. I haven't decided. Who knows? I could change my mind and actually go back to The Boys in the Boat. Who knows? Anyway, that's my update for today. Lots of me rambling and talking on and on. Thank you for watching. I will check in with you all later. Bye. Hello. So thank you for watching my vlog so far, and now I wanted to give you kind of the wrap up of the BookTubeAthon and what I was able to finish, what I wasn't able to finish, and my thoughts on this whole process. So As you can see, I did start out with kind of trying to vlog or at least check in daily. That kind of died by the end of the week because I did have a lot of friends and family events happening, and I just wasn't able to kind of step aside. I didn't have the opportunity to step aside and turn on the camera. So I do want to apologize for that. However, I was able to get a little bit more reading in despite being kind of in these positions of like interacting with a lot of friends and family. I was able to get a little bit of reading done the very, very early mornings and late evenings. So I was able to finish 2 books. So the first book is the book that you are all familiar with from earlier in the vlog, and that is A Wrinkle in Time by Madeleine L'Engle. And then I also watched the movie that went with it. I do just want to kind of emphasize that what I talked about in the vlog, I know I mentioned that I wasn't really a big fan of this. Those are my own personal opinions. I realize that this is a classic book. I also realize that this was written in 1962, and so the style of writing and just how people talked and interacted with each other differ from today. But I personally didn't connect with it because to me it doesn't resonate as a story for a modern audience, even though the ideas are attempting to be a little bit scientific and yet also a little bit religious. The religious part didn't really bother me. It was more of the characters and how they interacted with each other, and the dialogue that they had just wasn't for me. I am going to read the other books in the series because I know that they'll be easy reads, and I would like to see how the story ends. I am kind of a stickler for wanting to see how things end, even if I'm not a big fan of them. And maybe it'll change my mind. Maybe I will grow to like the characters a little bit more, even though I didn't really like them in the first book. So, my thoughts on A Wrinkle in Time. The other book that I was able to finish is Starry Eyes by Jen Bennett, and I believe this was actually supposed to fit the challenge of read 7 books. So the idea was that I would have read the other 6 books. This one would make it my 7th. So technically, since I didn't read 7 books, this doesn't fit a challenge. However, I did want to include it because I read it during the BookTubeAthon time frame. And this is basically a like young adult or maybe even a new adult contemporary novel about this teenage girl who's about to go into her senior year of high school, and she goes on a camping trip with some friends, and one of the people who's on the camping trip with her is this guy that she used to be best friends with. They had a falling out, and now they're like bitter enemies, or so she thinks. So this story kind of talks about not only their relationship but her relationship with the friends that she's on this camping trip with, and also the relationship with her parents. And so this kind of camping trip really helps her kind of discover who she is and what she's capable of. This for me was a really quick read. I was able to get it through it super fast, which is why I was able to finish it. I think it only took me like a couple hours, like 2, maybe 3 hours. It wasn't that long. Even though it's quite a fairly thick book. And I did like the characters in it. For a contemporary novel, which is not my genre of choice, I actually really liked this and was surprised by it. So I might read other books by Jane Bennett, even if they are contemporary novels. So the other books, which you can see on the shelf here, are the books that I did not finish, but I did start. So the books that I started, which you'll be familiar with from the earlier in the vlog, is The Diviners, and I did not get any further than where I was in the middle of the week. The Boys in the Boat, which I'm still on that page 53, chapter 4 page. And then the last one is The Night Circus, and I don't remember how far or if I had even started the book when I was doing the vlogs, but I did get about, I guess that's a 4/5 of the way through the book. It's page 117 is where I'm at, and I am finding that I have read this before and I'm rereading it again, and I'm finding that I still really enjoy this book. So I am going to finish reading all 3 of these books, hopefully for August, but I just wasn't able to finish them for the BookTubeAthon. I really enjoyed it. I had a super busy week, which was so weird. Like, I realize now that I ended up seeing 4 movies, which is unheard of. That's like more movies than I've seen in the last couple of months. And we had family and friends over. So it was like the busiest time for me to be doing this readathon, and yet at the same time I felt like I was able to get through a lot of reading. So I really enjoyed the process. I enjoy the BookTubeAthon. I don't participate in a whole lot of the video or Instagram challenges, but I do like that they're there, and I also like that there's prizes involved as well to kind of really get the community engaged and participating. So I think that that's great, and they're really fun to kind of watch and see what people do for the challenges. I did do one challenge on Instagram and one challenge on BookTube. And so I will link my video down below to challenge day 7, which was what is your favorite book. So if you want to click on the video there, you can see what my favorite book is. And then on the Instagram challenge, which was also a day 7 challenge, it was what is your favorite book. I did that one because I needed an actual picture of the book. I did that one based on what my favorite book was that I currently own, and that is The Night Circus. But it is different than what I have on my video, which is my all-time favorite book. So I'm curious to hear comments or read comments from you and kind of see what you thought about BookTubeAthon. Let me know down below, and I will see you in the comments. Bye!